Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Oh yeah. It's been a minute. This is an impromptu, the Jay Sutton show. Oh man. I think I might have to turn my levels down just a little bit. Pardon me. I'm doing this all on my own. Like I said, it's impromptu. It's impromptu. Okay. I'm back right now. Let me sit on down and get comfy and tell you about a little story. The kid from the city, how hip hop raised me. I'm not saying by itself I got a mama and dad, and yes, they hit me with the belt, psych, nah, maybe once. But this show was dedicated to hip hop blunts. Yeah, I didn't smoke them till later, but I dabbled when I was a teenager. Didn't really stick it out till I got to college. Yeah, that's when I got it out. It was hip hop that helped raise the kid. It helped that you see what I'm laying in. Yeah, I told you this is an impromptu show. This is for me, my love letter to you, hip hop. And it just turned 50. I'm feeling good. Yup, I'm feeling really risky. About to take a big chance, like Puffy when he got Puff Daddy's dance. I'm talking Bad Boy, I'm talking Biggie, I'm talking Rockefeller, I'm talking BDP. Yeah, who else I'm talking about? Can't forget Kid and Play. Yup, they played they role in my life. We gon' get into it. Can't front on MC Hammer cause you can't touch it. Yeah, this gonna be a good show. It's the Jay Sutton show. My love letter to who? Hip hop. To hip hop. To hip hop. To hip hop. You're now tuned into the greatest show there is. It's the Jay Sutton show with Bruce and Boom, and Lukey's not on the boards today. Nobody's here because nobody knew that I was going to do this. I woke up this morning and realized it is the absolute birth date of hip hop, which turns 50 this year. When I first realized that hip hop was turning 50, I thought I'm 41 years old. That makes hip hop only 9 years older than me. So not only did hip hop help to raise me, we'll get into that in this show. I have nothing written down to talk about. I'm just going to go off the mental and express my love for the art of hip hop. So this is a stream of consciousness. I don't know why I put a T in that, but I have to get back into me speaking this way into a microphone and not just having set up punchline joke and things like that. It's been a minute since we've recorded a show, but I could not let the celebration, the birth date of hip hop, to go without me giving my love letter to hip hop and how it has helped to raise me and teach me all of the things that I actually know. I'll try to start from my beginnings to the middles to up to recent, but this episode is going to be all over the place because, again, I didn't write anything down. I have mental notes of things, and hopefully those mental notes will take me into another story that will help me to give like a timeline to where hip hop started for me. Now, I can't remember a day where there was not hip hop present in my life. So although I was born in 1982, which is the same year that The Message was released, Grandmaster Flash. Let me make sure. I hope I'm not sounding ignorant, but I know I'm not, because now it's going to be a lot of me pulling out my phone because I'm terrible with names and dates, but I know exactly what I was listening to at the time. The Message. I want to get the exact, there we go. Grandmaster Flash, like I said, and the Furious Five. I'm not going to, I'll slip up sometimes. I may slip up with dates, but, things like that. Now, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five released The Message in 1982, which was the year that I was born. So I was born with the same year that the greatest hip hop song ever, still to this date, was created and released into the masses. Now, how interesting is that? Now, that just starts you on my journey of just, I'll relate. And when I get into 1996, anybody who knows me and who loves me, they know how much I love 1996. So it'll be a lot of me picking up my phone when I get to 1996. But I'll stick to the start of hip hop for me, 1982, when I was born, the same year as The Message, the greatest hip hop song to date. But why do I say that? Because everything that they were speaking about in that song is still relevant to this day. Yes, even the pissy hallways. Some things you have to address the elephant in the room. So yes, the pissy hallways is still going on. There's still police brutality. There's still trying to gentrify and tear down the projects and things of that nature and revamp things. But that's it. Don't get me lost. So that's the start of that. So I was born the same year as The Message. That's what I was on. I'm off of that now. So I want to get into when I actually, when I paid attention to music. Now, I was introduced to hip hop through my uncle Bobby. Shout out to my Uncle Bobby, who was a hip hop head when he's several years older than me. Now, my mother and my father are a big influence on my musical making as well. My mom introduced me to everything under the sun, from gospel music to R&B music to soul music, anything under the sun. My mom is my introduction into that. My father alone is responsible for the funk in me, and why I love bass lines so much, and why I love funky music. That is my father. So that's the George Clintons and the Bootsies. He loves Bootsy and George Clinton. He'll tell me a story about when he gave a blunt. He passed a blunt to George Clinton. He passed a blunt to George Clinton, smoked my dad weed, and wound up keeping his weed. It was him or his brother. It was my dad or his brother, Brandon, one or the other. I believe it was Brandon, but that's either here nor there. Hip hop, music. But I was on a tangent. I'm sorry. My uncle is my introduction into hip hop music as a whole. So I was raised on music. So I gave you all of that. Oh, and also I gotta shout out my grandma, because my grandma listened to phenomenal music as well. My uncle Bobby introduced me to hip hop. So that's my introduction into Eric B. and Rakim, Public Enemy, NWA, like all of those things that was going on in the early 80s. So this is about 87, 88-ish. So I'm 5-6 years old. And I'm getting introduced to hip hop and just hearing it in the household. And then when we get to videos, that's an entirely different thing, because now I can visualize and I can see what hip hop looks like. But my uncle, Eric B. and Rakim, he was big on Eric B. and Rakim. Like I've always heard him listening to that. That's why Rakim is along with Eric B. But Rakim is like his wordsmanship and the way like he was speaking during that time. And not even realizing until years later that he wasn't cursing in any of these rhymes, and his vocabulary was just so extensive. And that's another reason, like, the music that I was listening to, like, is why I am the way that I am, the way that I think, the way that I see the world, the way that I understand the world and people, and just dealing with different relationships, getting fresh, confidence. My confidence comes from hip hop. It comes from that braggadocio style, is that like, I'm better than you. But that don't mean that I'm better than you. It's just like, at what I do, I'm better than you. Like, I dress better than you. I put these words together better than you. I've like my style on stage is hip hop. Like I'm me because I looked at hip hop and I'm like, oh, I can actually be myself. Now that took some time for me to find who I was, but all my time growing up, I knew like it was because of hip hop. So I'm listening to Fight the Power. I'm seeing like I wasn't sheltered. So I'm seeing Do the Right Thing. I'm seeing these things and I'm just seeing how hip hop influenced all of these things and how it's influencing me still to this day. Like right now, like what I got on right now, like this is hip hop. Ali, like Muhammad Ali. I didn't plan for this. It's just like I feel like this is the freshest shit ever. Like, you know what I mean? You can't tell me like I know my head cut off, but you can't tell me I ain't fresh right now. Like that's hip hop. You know what I'm saying? To make sure like hip hop taught me to dress how you feel. Like when I walk outside, I want to make sure like nobody next to me has on what I have on. Like I want to be separate from everybody. That's hip hop. Oh, that's so hip hop. So shout out to my Uncle Bobby, who introduced me to hip hop in the mid 80s. Now we'll fast forward to 91, 92, where I'm starting to like find the music that I like. Oh my goodness. So I'm my tree, like things that started finding me, like the Juice Crew, Big Daddy Kane, Coogee Rap, Marley Marl, Master Ace, like et cetera, et cetera. Like I'm starting to find those gems, like like a ill ass crew. Now this is around the time Videos is on, so now I'm watching Video Soul. I'm watching what else was out? Yo MTV Raps. I can't forget about locally Urban Expressions. Shout out to Keith from up the block. So I like those were like I was up late watching these videos that's just letting me see what my heroes look like. Now I don't call anybody my heroes, so I like, but those were like influences and people who I wanted to be like sitting back as a young kid and seeing Special Ed, like he was a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like let me get the, like, I just want to get these years right. Like what was influencing me? Like Special Ed was like, oh my God. Like, do you know how it is? I'm sorry, guys. Special Ed. I want to get these years right because I want to make sure we got the years. That's like I Got It Made and things like of that nature. Like seeing the videos for these things. Here we go. 1989. The Youngest in Charge. I Got It Made. Like he was a kid. Like imagine a kid, a black kid, like seeing these things on TV, but like that's my only introduction, like to see these, like what it could be. Like I Got It Made. Like this kid, he's a kid. So I've always had this mindset and like this vision, like I can do that. Like if those people can do that, like now I didn't know it at the time, but subconsciously I've always been influenced by things that I seen on TV. So when you see a Special Ed video and like you see how fly he is and he talking to the girls and it's just like he look fly. Like he was the reason I wanted curly hair because of Special Ed. Like, did you see his hair? Like he has a beautiful mane on his head. Yeah, like I'm like, yo, why my hair don't look like that when I get my high top fade and his shit it always looked like it was just so crispy. But I knew he had a good grade of hair. I'm like, Mom, why my grade ain't like that? Like I'm supposed to have a grade like that, but I couldn't. You know what I'm saying? I had more of a Flavor Flav grade. Before I realized how to tame my, like I had a Flavor Flav grade of hair. Don't let me get lost in this. So it's during these times that I'm seeing these things, and then later on, like I said, Eric B and Rakim. Then you get LL Cool J, Heavy D, by diddly D. Like you seeing, like I'm seeing light skinned cats. Now this is now, I get personal now, I'm seeing other light skinned cats out here doing it big, like Heavy D. Even though I wasn't fat, like I wouldn't have minded being fat, because I had somebody to look to, like, oh, this is how you be a fly ass fat dude. Rest in peace to Heavy D, man. One of my favorites. Anytime I talk about Heavy D, I just get into diddly, and I get happy. It's just, oh, hip hop, man. Happy birthday to hip hop. Who else was I want to keep up? Okay, I was talking about, I got sidetracked, but then I started like finding, like, again, I'm still talking about artists that I started listening to during these times and just influenced me. And I think about Nothing But a G Thing. Nothing But a G Thing. Let me get the exact year, because I'm gonna tell you, I don't know the year, but I know where I was living at. I know when Nothing But a G Thing came out, I was still living on Mary Street, down the west side. Okay, I could tell you other things that was going on around that time, because somebody was being accused of something. They got locked up for it, but that's either here nor there. That's how I remember things. So let me get the exact year on Nothing But a G Thing. Nothing but a G thing, baby. It's like 92, 91 or something like that. It's 92. 92. So 92, I was still, I don't know what grade I was in, but I know I was down the west side of Chester, PA, on Mary Street. And as the time now, I'm going back and forth to the boys club. So when Nothing But a G Thing came out, I'm down the west side. And then I'm seeing the video. And I'm like, yo, West Coast dudes, like, that's how they get down. So now I'm picking up little fashion stuff from the West Coast. Oh, I could wear some slacks. You know what I'm saying? Because we was big on jeans. East Coast dudes, we big on jeans. It's cold over here. But now you getting introduced like, oh, slacks and diggies. Oh, I could pull that off with the little button up, like flannels and stuff. Like, that's hip hop. That's hip hop. So now we listening to that. So now I think after that, not too long after that, we moved to Dorian Court. It was around the Dorian Court area. I'll tell you what I was listening to around the Dorian Court era. What was going on? No, is this Nas, or was I still on Nas? First joint came out in like 94, 93. I told you I'm going to be pulling this out because I want to make sure that I have these dates correct, because I'm trying to give you a timeline of my love affair with hip hop and how it influenced me. Let me get the exact year. Illmatic dropped in 94, like I said. So Illmatic drops 94, I believe 94. Yeah, we're about to move to Dorian Court, I believe. So 94 what comes out, Nas drops Illmatic 94. Whose world is this? The world is yours. The world is yours. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? The world is yours. So I'm drawn in because of the cover. Like I seen the album. Like of course I heard the song, but then I see the album. Then this is around the time like I'm able to buy my own albums. So, shout out to mom. Shout out to my mom, because my mom never she never hid the music from me. Like she understood that she had a smart son, and he understood the fake stuff and the real stuff. And I was never attracted to I don't know how to describe the music that I was like super ignorant. Like I like some ratchet, and these days you're saying ratchet, but I've always listened to music that taught me, like that actually made me think. So these are the artists that I'm like, the people that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to forget a few, of course I am, but I'm going to give you like a timeline of my love affair again. Oh, and shout out to Laura Finesse. Laura Finesse, oh man, Laura Finesse was hard. That nigga punchlines and shit, crazy. But Illmatic. Quick story about Illmatic. So it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? Now I see this video, and Nas got on the white visor. Ooh, the ill white visor. The ill white visor, right? Now this is around the time where shirts like this was, big, screen graphic tees, but with the screen of pictures and faces and things. So I see that white visor. I'm like, damn, I need a white visor. Like, I'm like, that's hip hop. Like, I need a white visor. So this is around the time anybody who from the area, who from the tri-state or, close, they know about Cowtown. Now, Cowtown it's like a swap meet to the West Coast, So they got all these different goods. A lot of them fake. A lot of it real or bootleg. Real, bootleg, or fake. Now, fake, I say, is designer shit. Bootleg is just, oh, nah, you making a screen print, I'm going to get me a screen print, do the same joint, sell that. How on Martin, hip-hop, when they were selling the Whitney Houston T-shirts. Like that. So, I see the video. Nas got on the white visor. Me and moms wound up going to, I don't know how long after it was, but I just remember the story. Now me and moms is going to Cowtown, and when you a kid, you excited to go to Cowtown because you're gonna go spend at least $35 of your mom's money, like at least 50, like because if you see an ill T-shirt and it had to match, you got to talk her into it. And I was a spoiled kid. Now, I couldn't get all of the extra expensive things, but I could get affordable things. Mom always made sure that stay a little level-headed kid, because when we get older, you don't know what you don't like. I know you're an artist. You're not going to make that much money, son. Like, you're going to make money. You're going to be affording to live because you ain't no dummy. But for a lot of your life, you're going to struggle, kid. You're going to struggle. But you'll look good doing it, and it'll be affordable. So we at Cowtown, we walking up and down the aisles. Boom. I don't know if I seen the visor first or if I seen the Nas Illmatic T-shirt first. All I know is I got both of them that day. Let's just say for shits and giggles, I seen the visor first. Now, I never had a visor up until that point, because all of the visors that was hot was Fila visors was hot then. I think they had an ill Nike visor, and them joints cost a couple dollars. Now, I'm still like that to this day. I'm not really big on like brands and things of that nature. Like, I'm not a label whore. So I didn't have no problem just getting a regular visor. So I see the white visor. Now think about something that when you grew up, like something you seen for the first time, and you was like, oh, I remember. Like, so I see the white visor. Now it was like seeing the gift that you asked for on Christmas. Like, you know how I felt when you got that gift on Christmas. Like, a lot of y'all had starter jackets. So dudes, if you had a starter jacket, and chicks, it like your first pocketbook or something like that. I think that's good. I think that's a good description for both things. So I see the visor. I'm like, oh, mom, I gotta get the visor. The visor is a white visor. Yo, you have no clue. I've been seeing this visor on Nas. Whose world is this? The world is. She's like, calm down, dude. Calm down. How much is the visor? I want to say the visor was $10 or $12 at this time. I want to say it was $10 or $12. So I'm like, mom's, put it in the bag. She throws it in the bag. So she, we walking around, out. Like, this was a bonding time. Like, this is like, I remember this. Like, this is times where you rolling with moms. Like, so we walking through, we going up and down the aisle. You seeing all types of stuff. Cowtown was like a wonderful place. And then I go to the booth outside. I know it was outside. See, yeah, we outside. I see it. We in the booth. We walking outside. And I look to my right. the Nas Illmatic t-shirt. The Nas Illmatic. Oh, mom, if you thought I was hyped for the visor, mom, did you see that? Like, this is the guy who made me want to get the white visor. Like, mom, whose world is this? The world is yours. The world, like, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. She like, get that. I said, oh, she said, get. I said, oh, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose shirt is this? The shirt is mine. The shirt is mine. Mom throws it in the joint, man. Listen. So now I don't need nothing else. Like, my summer is complete. Like, I already know I'm gonna wear this visor and this t-shirt out. You hear me? This is gonna be a cream visor by the end of this summer. Believe that, Jack. So I guess that. And the next day that I wear it, man, you could not tell me I was not from Queensbridge. Queensbridge. So now that spawns me into the boot camp clique, you know, and so from Nas, now I'm getting introduced to all of this East Coast hip hop. I'm not gonna front, and I'll reference some South music. Because during the time when people was like during the South's run, my rowdy music, like say 3-6 Mafia during that time, that my 3-6 Mafia, No Limit, and things of that nature, that my and Ghetto Boys and things like that. Mine was MOP, the Boot Camp clique. Now the Boot Camp clique, who got the props? Who got the props? Got it, DVD and buckshot. Who got the props? Now let's see what year this is. Let me see what year this is, because now all of this stuff that I'm listening to at the time. What year did Black Moon release Who Got the Props? Diamond D, Evil D and Buckshot, 1993, Enter the Stage. So this is a year before Illmatic. So Who Got the Props? How many MCs? Like, these people are shaping the way that I think. And if you know anything about Black Moon and the BDI Buckshot, knowledge reigns supreme. Shout out to Karis, but knowledge over everything. Like, that's why I'm so woke to my godness and my powers, because of the music that I was listening to. So that just so then the boot camp clique. The boot camp clique introduced me to boot camp clique introduces me to Helter Skelter. Who initially, like, now Helter Skelter as a clique, as a group, which is Rock and Ruck, aka known as Sean Price. Rest in peace to Sean P. Rest in peace to Sean Price. But I've always been a ruck fan. Sean Price, for those who don't have no clue who the heck Helter Skelter is. So, and what did I love? Now, when they released La Fla, the Skoska, I'm in BKD. Now, shout out to Audio Bud. Shout out to my man Audio Bud. Me and him was the only dudes who used to build over listening to La Fla, the Skoska. That's the Fab Five. Fab Five got the props. Oh man, I love hip hop. I can't tell you these years, but I can tell you what I was listening to. Now, hip hop is so prevalent to me. Again, I told you I'm going to be bouncing all over. I used to do homework. Like, real hip hop kids and hip hop heads did homework with music on. I know I did. I couldn't do my homework without having some music on. Now, I'll reference a few albums that I was listening to during the times of me doing homework that I can just remember off top. I remember doing homework to Sadat X album. That's probably 1997, 1998. I'm going to check I'm going to check. I told you I'm going to hop around, but I want to make sure I got these dates right because I want y'all to know, I want you to understand how much I like. Oh man, you guys 1996. Oh, of course it came out in 1996. Which is the great that walks me right into 1996. Thank you. Thank you, timeline. Like, the universe is in control of this actual podcast today. This is episode 126. This is my love letter to hip hop. It's an impromptu stream of consciousness. I didn't write anything down. So 1996, I'm doing homework to Sadat X's Wild Cowboys. Standout track, Wild Cowboys, Hang 'em High. Now, I'm doing homework to Sadat X. Anybody who knows, Sadat X is a member of the Brand Nubian, who is one of my favorite hip hop groups ever, Grand Poobah. Now, hold up, let me touch on Grand Poobah real quick. Shout out to Grand Poobah. Grand Poobah he's single-handedly responsible for, I won't say single-handedly, he got a hand in what you see when I present myself to the world. Grand Poobah is a major influence on that. Now, could you imagine seeing Grand Poobah on Yo MTV Raps with Mary J. Blige? What's the 411? He's on there with some jean shorts, a Tommy Hilfiger. I don't even have to look it up. A Tommy Hilfiger jacket, windbreaker joint. He was the first one rocking the Tommy and like really having niggas like, yo, I gotta get on that Tommy shit. He on there with the Tommy joint, Timberlands with the nigga Timberlands in shorts. Grand Poobah, the ultimate, the polos and layering clothes and just putting different pieces together. Grand Poobah, salute to Grand Poobah. He's one of the architects of why I present myself the way I present myself when I come out to the public and when I get on that stage. I got to make sure that I'm looking fresh, because if Grand Poobah's in the crowd and he see me and he be like, yo, salute, kid. Salute. So Brand Nubian, let me look up Brand Nubian's first album, because I was listening to this stuff. These are the things that I was listening to. I'm not forgetting 1996, Brand doing homework to Sadat X's 1996, and that just introduces me to everything that came out in 1996. The greatest year in hip hop history. Ain't nobody trying to argue with y'all, but I will if you trying to. Let's look up the year when Brand Nubian was at least 90. They was around the same, 94, 95-ish. Let's see. I was doing homework to this Brand Nubian album, Foundation, in 1998. I was at Chester High. I'm doing homework to Foundation. This is the things that I'm listening to. You niggas ain't built like me. 1990 that's how early, like Brand Nubian, who's part of the Native Tongues, Tribe Called Quest, the Jungle Brothers, Queen Latifah, Chi Ali, the Black Sheep, etc. I am hip hop. Okay, 1996, I'm doing homework to Wild Cowboys. Now, 1996 is the greatest year in hip hop history. Off the top, I'll name some albums that came out in 1996. This is off the top of my head. In hip hop alone, I'm just going on hip hop. 1996. I'll start with Bahamadia, just because I was listening to Bahamadia in 1996, the Collage album. I've been really trying, baby. 1996, Bahamadia. 1996, Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubt. I was listening to that in 1996. I am in the 8th grade going into the 9th grade, and I'm listening to Reasonable Doubt. Not because, and I found Reasonable Doubt because I was listening to Jay-Z on a feature on Original Flavors, which I heard from listening to the Come Up Show, Power 99, Cosmic Kev, DJ Cosmic Kev. Anybody know Friday nights, if you ain't near the radio in the 90s around 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock is when he really started going crazy, and then 12 o'clock, it was like super crazy. Super crazy. So I hear Jay-Z, J took it to A, took it away past the Y. I so crazy. Now this is Jay-Z on Original Flavors. I'm listening to this on the Cosmic Kev show, which I taped every week, because I am a hip hop baby. New York had Funk Flex. They had Red Alert. I know all of these people. We had Cosmic Kev. Also, shout out to DJ Goody, because Goody was the man in Chester. Shout out to Kuryak. I can go on and on. I am hip hop. 1996. I'm listening to Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt. Understanding these metaphors, understanding these entendres. Later on, learning even more about the entendre things. But I just knew from him on that one feature with Original Flavors, I knew, like, this is the greatest rapper. Like, he's one of the greatest rappers ever. Like, right now, he's the greatest, just because he's the greatest right now. Sorry, I got sidetracked. So 1996. What else comes out in 1996? 1996, we get Outkast's Aquemini, I believe. Aquemini came out. 1996, which is one of my favorites. Redman, Muddy Waters. Redman is one of, like, absolute favorite MCs to ever touch a microphone. So Muddy Waters is out in 1996. Oh my goodness. 1996. What else? I got you. I believe De La Souls. Shout out to De La Soul, another one of my greatest groups. Oh, my favorite hip hop group of all time is the Lost Boys. Can you guess when the Lost Boys' first album came out, Legal Drug Money? You guessed it, 1996. All right. I'm going to go now that I ran off all of the stuff that I know off the top of my head. Oh, yeah, It Was Written, 1996. Nas's best album, hands down. Yes, it's better than Illmatic. I don't want to argue with y'all, but It Was Written is better than Illmatic. He outdid his first classic album. So Nas's It Was Written came out in 1996. Hip-hop albums released in 1996. Now, all of those are just things that I got off the top of my head. I believe there's a Scarface album that came out in 1996. Hip-hop albums, 1996. 1996. Now, that's not even including the R&B that was released in that year. You had The Score. Outkast's ATLiens came out in 1996. UGK's Riding Dirty. I wasn't listening to that. I can't front. All Eyes on Me, 1996. One of, like, I think that's the best collection of music that Tupac released. All Eyes on Me. I think that's his best album. Damn sure the best production that he's ever had on an album. For sure. MOP's Firing Squad came out in 1996. I was listening to that. Now, I'm going to have to go back before because seeing the MOP joint in 1996, because at this same, like, years before, I'm listening to Fat Joe's Fat Joe first album, which is Jose. You gotta flow, Joe. You gotta flow, Joe. Gotta go. I don't want to get the title wrong, so I'm going to look it up. I told you I'm going to be all over the place. I'm sorry. Hip hop, happy birthday. Happy 50th birthday to hip hop. Jealous One's Envy, 1995, which is another great year for hip hop. Now my recollection and understanding of when I started my collection of music, like when I started collecting, like my own stuff, was, I'll say 93-ish, 94, but 94 for sure, up until present. What was I talking about? I was talking about albums released in 1996, the greatest year ever for hip hop. It Was Written, 1996. Oh, my bad. Tupac came out with the Don Illuminati a few months later after it was All Eyes on Me. Mobb Deep's Hell on Earth is 1996. One of the greatest hip hop groups ever. Stakes is High. De La Soul, 1996. Oh, Illadelph, Half-Life, The Roots, 1996. Beats Rhyme in Life, Tribe Called Quest, 1996. I won't name the ones that's not worth mentioning. Little Kim's Hardcore, 1996. Up, one of my favorite albums ever that also helped shape my style. Ghostface Killer's Iron Man, 1996. He's also an architect to why I dress the way that I dress, along with Nas. Of course, Nas's influence is seething out of me. Who else do I? Helter Skelter's Nocturnal. I talked about Helter Skelter's, their first album, 1996. Let's see. Enigma, Keith Murray. That's just an honorable mention. Another honorable mention. The Ice Cream Man, which is one of the biggest. He has one of the Ice Cream Man is one of the biggest songs ever. 1996. Ghetto Boys, the Legal Drug Money, like I said. The Collage. Sadat X, Wild Cowboy. What else do we got? I got a few more. Let me just run down a few more. I forgot all about this, but Foxy Brown's Il Nana, 1996. I see why her and Kim got that beef. Skills, now I'm going to talk about my love for female hip-hop as well. Let me write that down so I don't forget. All of the female MCs. Female MCs. I know y'all like, he left-handed? No, I'm not. I'm ambidextrous. Female MCs. MCs. There we go. I don't want to forget that. I'm sorry, guys. I'll continue with 1996 and why it's the greatest year ever. NW, no, that's just the greatest hits album. Eazy-E, Straight Off the Streets of a Motherfucking Compton, 1996. That's it. You get the gist of why. Now, I still didn't get into the R&B that was released. That's for another podcast. That is for an absolute. That's another podcast. So I'm doing homework to, like I said. Now I just said Jealous One's Fat Joe joint came out in 95. Let me make sure, because I don't want to.
Anything you want to let niggas know out there on the
I'm sorry.
on some real.
I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. Jealous One's Envy. Yeah, 1995. So this is the stuff that's shaping who I am. So let's go. Like 98 is also a good year for hip hop as well. Now 1998, 97, 98. I'm getting introduced to, I'm finding gems. Now again, also, I found 50 Cent, The Come Up Show. I heard How to Rob on The Come Up Show. One night, I'm up taping, and I'm listening to The Come Up Show, and 50 Cent's How to Rob comes on, and I'm like, who in the world is this dude? Like, not only was he coming at MCs, but it was fly. Like the way he was bouncing all on the beat. Jesus Christ. This nigga 50 Cent. Like, so that's coming through. Let me get some water. I'm sorry, guys. Like, this is impromptu, man. This is impromptu. This is my love letter to hip hop. I don't know dates, but I know what I was listening to. 1997. Camp Low. Lucchini comes on. I'm watching videos. This is it. What? Lucchini pouring from the sky. Let's get lit. What? They found that sugar down. Can't quit. What? This is it. What? Introducing Phantom of the Dark. I was like, who is these 70s cats in the 90s talking this fly? Like Camp Low is like, that's top five. They are my top five for hip hop groups. Geechee Suede, it can do no wrong to me. You hear me? Like, oh man, it's just, let me take a pause. I'm sorry. Let me gather myself. I'm getting excited. I'm getting a cramp in my stomach. I don't. Oh man. Because when I think about Camp Low, when you think about Sonny Chiba. Sonny Chiba. Sonny Chiba. Like niggas got like charisma, like style, like again, hip hop has always been about not looking like somebody else. Like you have to stand apart from the next man, like at all times. That's hip hop. That's me. Like I never want to be doing what somebody else is doing. Shout out to the Roots. Never do what they do, what they do, what they do. Never do. Let me make sure this is recording, because I get scared after a while. Yeah, we good. I shouldn't have done that. I just know that this is so good that I don't want to just have to release this as an audio. I know we only on one camera. I could have set up everything over here and just been pushing buttons myself, changing camera angles, but why? I think that this is more engaging than anything. So 1997, I'm listening to Can't Blow. And let me see what else came out in 1997, because hip hop albums of 1997. Because 1998, I'm gonna get into my infatuation and my love for Noriega and Capone and Noriega, which is that's 97, that's 97, 98ish. Hip hop albums 1997. Bear with me, guys. I know you haven't seen me in a while. Hip hop albums 1997. 97. Go. Here we go. Wu-Tang Forever. 1997. Common. Thank you. I'm doing homework to Common's One Day It'll All Make Sense. What? Now, that album is, I think that's his top, it's in his top 3 albums, because those joints that he did with Kanye were just phenomenal. But One Day It'll All Make Sense. Now, let me go get a couple songs off of this joint. I'm doing homework to Common's One Day It'll All Make Sense. I wasn't listening to no bullshit. Like, all of the music that I was listening to was like phenomenal fucking music. Like, and then later on learning that No ID was the one producing all of that stuff. I remember, I'll tell you a quick story about One Day It'll All Make Sense. Common's his 3rd album, 1997. I had bought the clean version by mistake from The Wall. I probably still have that album. I have both of them. I have the clean version, and then when I realized that I had the clean version, not too long after that, I went and bought the cursing version, because I needed those cursings very much so. Now, Common's One Day It'll All Make Sense. That, if you guys might remember the album from his feature with Lauryn Hill, Respect for Life, I believe is the song. But that album, oh my God. Do yourself a favor and go listen to One Day It'll All Make Sense from the beginning. Like, and it has like the cool cover of him sitting with his mom's, and he got the hat on, and they got a bucket hat under like a straw hat. Like, I'm doing homework to these albums. I'm going to other albums released in 1997. All right. I'm sorry, guys. This is just too good. This is just too good. This is good. No. What are you doing? Hip hop album 1997. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. Here we go. Albums released in 1997. I told you the War Report, 1997, 1998-ish is when the War Report is one of the greatest hip hop albums of all times, if you don't believe me. 1997, One Day It'll All Make Sense. The War Report. These are things that I'm listening to. The War Report. Capone and Noriega. Capone Bone is one of the greatest hip hop songs ever. Just listen to it. I'm in high school and I'm listening to this. I'm a sophomore in high school at this time, I believe. Yeah, unless it came out in that summertime. Life After Death, the double album, the greatest hip hop album of all time. It's like no skips. Like Biggie Smalls, Notorious Big, Life After Death. I'll tell you, from the 7th song on this, my favorites start from like 7, like it's no skips, period. But the disc 2 from 7 to the end of the album, I'm gonna go through the run of those songs. As a matter of fact, right now, I'll do that. Right now, I'm going to do that. Right now, I'm going to tell you my favorite, like the run of songs that Big went on that album, the double disc, Life After Death, second CD. There's no skips on the whole entire album, but from 18, even it's like the whole album, but I start from 21, like really 20 to 24. Now on the other app, on the what's the name, it'll be 13 and 14. Yeah, it'll be 11, 10, 11, 12, 13. So starting from 20, let's start from 20. Sky's the Limit. The World is Filled. My Downfall. Oh my God. Long Kiss Goodnight. And You're Nobody. And that's the end of the album. That's why when Biggie was alive, nobody was better than Big. Nobody. Like, everybody was fighting for number 2. Like, everybody. Yes, we had Nas. Yes, we had Big. We had Tupac. We had Jay-Z on the rise, which is Volume 2, another 1997 album, which is a very slept-on album. It was very happy. It wasn't as happy as people portrayed to be because he was rapping his ass off. Back to the albums released in 1997. I just mentioned In My Lifetime, Volume 1, Jay-Z. OC, Jules, classic album. Busta Rhymes, When Disaster Strikes. Also, Busta Rhymes' first album came out in 1996 as well. The title, I can't remember the title of it right now. Can Blow, Uptown Saturday Night, 1997. Already spoke about it. Super Duper Fly, Missy Elliott, 1997. KRS One had a big hit on I Got Next. EPMD, Back in Business, when they got back together. Some joints off of that. The Beat Nuts, Stone Crazy album. You had Scarface, The Untouchable, Masterpiece, Ghetto D. Now that's when I started listening to, I can be honest, like I was listening to No Limit. Shout out to Bebop. Bebop was big No Limit guy because he was a Fairground guy. Fairground niggas dudes is the first people that I heard listening to No Limit music was dudes from the Fairground. So shout out to the Fairground niggas. I didn't start fucking with Ghetto Dope until I didn't start fucking with Master P and them until Ghetto Dope. Whereas when I started paying attention, like I knew the stuff because Bebop was playing. We would play basketball to these albums. Like when me and my friends, this is when we was outside. So we kids, we still playing basketball. We got music in the background. Like that's how much hip hop is around me. Like we playing basketball to these albums. Like 1997 is when Life After Death came out. Quick story. Life After Death album came out. Now, shout out to Lukey, who works the boards here, is one of my best friends, and another one of my best friends is JB. They went halves on Life After Death, the cassette tape. Yo, you hold one joint, I hold the other one. They live next door to each other, so they'd just switch back and forth when they needed to. So we playing basketball to Life After Death. Like, I love hip hop, man. Like, this is like, I can vividly see, and now we playing basketball at my crib because all of us had our own pullouts. So we playing Life After Death, and because we can dunk on my court. We couldn't dunk on Bebop court. He ain't let us dunk on. That's why his joint lasted longer than everybody else's. You know what I'm saying? So those are the albums of 1997. Now 1998 is when Capone gets locked up. Now Nori got to be on his own. Now, 1998, we pay attention to 1998 a lot, and we associate 1998 with DMX. Of course, he releases 2 albums. It's Dark and Hell is Hot, and let's get the other one. I told you I'm titles and things of that nature, but I know when these things released. DMX, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, and my favorite on that joint, I'll tell you why. It's Dark as Hell is and Hell is Hot. Is 1998. Come on. As Dark as Hell is Hot is 1998. And his other album that released in 1998. I should know this, but I don't because Flesh of My Flesh and Blood of My Blood. Now, we associate 1997 now, deservingly so. It's Dark and Hell is Hot and Flesh of My Flesh released. Now, Flesh of My Flesh is my favorite DMX album because it helped me get through my freshman year of college. Shout out to all of the kids going back to college, going back to school and starting school as well. Flesh of my flesh and blood of my blood. This album helped me get through my freshman year because I was going like, now you don't know, but I was going, like, I was a little bit depressed. I was homesick, I should say. I had never been away from home that long and not been around a family member ever until I went to college. So that album helped me get through. So 1998 is like deservingly so. It should be talked about, DMX, and also Jay-Z Volume 2 is when he like, it's the Hard Knock Life. That was the one that catapulted Jay-Z into Jay-Z mode. But 1998 to me was a slew of Noriega features. The end of 97 and just 98. But 1998, Nori was featuring on shit. Like, one of my favorite songs is with him and Nas, because he was running around in Queensbridge. Queens. Oh man, not Body in the Trunk. Shut up, Jay. Before that, one of my favorite joints. What is it? Oh man, I'm having a brain fart. I know exactly where I can go at, because I can. Sorry guys, bear with me, because I love hip hop. I'm trying to give you a timeline. And also, these songs that I'm shouting out in albums, you need to go and look at these things and listen to them. Nas and Nori. Calm down. Nori on Calm Down. Music makes these thugs calm down. Music makes these thugs calm down. Music. They love to hear drama, because drama's all we know. Oh my God. So Nori's on this run. Then he hops on, he pops up on the Streets Is Watching soundtrack. He's releasing his first album in 1998. And so Nori is like, he's one of my favorite rappers, MCs of all times. I want to shout out a few other albums and things of that nature. Since I'm staying in Queensbridge, because it's staying in Queens. Shout out to Royal Flush. Royal Flush's first album. I think that was like 1998, and he got a feature with. Let me make sure it's either 98 or 99. Royal Flush's first album. Royal Flush. I always associate Royal Flush with Cuban Links and Raekwon. Shout out to Raekwon, because Raekwon has the greatest Wu-Tang solo album. It's argued between Only Built for Cuban Links and Iron Man by Ghostface. Those are arguably the two greatest hip hop albums released off of Wu-Tang, and both they're basically co-headliners on that. What was I looking for? Royal Flush, 1997, Ghetto Millionaire album. That's one of my favorite albums. This is 1997. I'm listening to these things. Like, these are the albums that I'm listening to. Like, so, like, when I talk about how much I love hip hop, this is me telling you. Now, other people that I was listening to growing up. Shout out to the Crew. Crew was a Crew. Who else? The Bush Babies. The Bush Babies is who introduced me to Mos Def. That's how I got to come into knowing Mos Def, who goes on to join Rockers Records and has a group with Talib Kweli. But I was introduced to Mos Def through the Bush Babies. I want to give you the exact song. When I seen the video on Yo MTV Raps, I was like, oh my God, this guy is he's great. Like, I want to give it to you. The Bush Babies, 1994. Their album was Ambushed. The song was Remember We, Remember We, Remember We, Remember We, without letting on to it. I'm listening to, like, I'm introduced to Mos Def, like this, like, so you're interested, like, hip hop is so extensive, like you just like, once you find something that you like, things that are associated with that is going to find you. I went to record stores and went shopping and picked up CDs and looking at it like, oh, I like this cover, I'm gonna try this out. Like I did that with the what's the name? The Suave House compilation album. I wasn't that big on Suave House, but that compilation album, the cover was so ill. I was like, oh, this shit is crazy. That's when Tila, which also introduced, like, I started getting into 8-Ball and MJG. What was I talking about? I'm talking about like people and like how hip hop just raised me. And oh, I'm so excited to do this episode, man. Happy birthday to hip hop. I'm not done yet. I am not done because I'm letting these streams of consciousness come to me because I don't want to forget anybody, really. I mentioned Brand Nubian. I mentioned De La Soul. Who else that don't get a lot of credit? AZ is one of the most slept on MCs ever. Another Brooklyn night. Now hip hop. Now I'll argue with anybody because it's arguable. The only arguable thing of boroughs and who has the best MCs and who produced the best MCs in hip hop is arguable between Queens and Brooklyn. Like some days I'm feeling like Queens got it. Other days I'm like, nah, Brooklyn got it. Cause Brooklyn, you gotta deal with AZ. like yo, you gotta deal with MOP. Shout out to Billy Danz and Fame. You gotta deal with those guys. You gotta deal with Biggie. You gotta deal with Sean Price. Like, you gotta deal with these guys. Like, but Queens, I can run them off. Like you gotta deal with Noor. You gotta deal with Cormega. You gotta deal with Nas. Like, you gotta deal with Prodigy, who arguably has, like, it ain't even arguable. His opening lines are like they own you. Like, I break bread, ribs, $100 bills. Like, who the fuck? I break bread, ribs, $100 bills. Peel on Ducatis and other 4 wheels. Write a book full of scriptures that generate meals. Like, come on, man. Like, you gotta deal, like, Brooklyn. Like, you gotta deal with, like, I don't know if Busta is he pulling his Brooklyn card or is he pulling his Long Island card? Which one is he doing? We don't know which one he's doing. I don't know. And before I forget, Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang is, I say, this is all of my opinion, but I'm a hip hop here. I really like talking about music and hip hop. Who knows? Who knows what this episode will bring? Method Man is the star. Like, he's the best. But Ghostface is like, he's the one. Ghost is the one. Like, it's like, you know, that's just me. Like, Method Man is like, he's like the superstar. It's like he encompasses everything. It's like Jadakiss. This is my opinion. It's like Jadakiss. It's like Styles compared to Jadakiss. It's like Styles is like equally as great. Like, equally as great. But he don't have the ha. Like, that's how I look at Method Man and Ghostface in that camp alone. That's something else. That's just off the top. I want to keep on talking about people. I want to talk about, like, I can't front on Vanilla Ice. I have Vanilla Ice cassette tape. I remember a Christmas where I got that. I got a Walkman, and the album that I got was that, and I think it was a New Edition album. I think it was something in it, and one of them was a single. But I had that Vanilla Ice album. I didn't know no better. Mom's ain't really. He had the biggest song. Like, he was the biggest shit. Like, I can't front on Vanilla Ice, Ice baby, and he had another hit on there. Don't get that fucked up. Like, Vanilla Ice has some shit. Nah, I ain't going back to it, but, you know, it's either here nor there. Who else influences me? Who else was a part of my influence? Just listening to hip hop. I mentioned Rakim. I mentioned Heavy D. Because I don't want to forget anybody. I just mentioned AZ. Who else? Shout out to Big L. Cameron, 1998. Cameron, Confessions of Fire. How could I forget? 1998, Confessions of Fire. I'll tell you a quick story. I can remember I'm working a summer job, one of them step joints or something. I'm working at the Y over town. Confessions of Fire come out. I left. I snuck out of work. I went and got that album soon as Berman's opened up. Shout out to Berman's. Shout out to Monty. Shout out to Monty. Monty could tell you how much money I spent inside of Berman's as a kid. I'm a hip hop kid, and Berman's was the only record store other than down the far west side. And I didn't venture far down the west side. Like they called that the West End. That had a record store, but when Berman's didn't have some, I went up to the west side and went to that. I can't remember that record store name, but part in my brain for it. But Confessions of Fire came. I remember going to get that album and us listening to that album at work in the basement. We didn't do no more work the rest of that day. That's hip hop. What? That's hip hop, man. That's hip hop. Who else? Who else off the top of my head is just like, I don't want to forget anybody, man. I know I am. It's easy for me to forget people, but I don't want to. Mention Camp Low. Who else was I listening? Kwame, Poor Righteous Teacher. I'm enjoying this music. What else is on? Like, anytime I mention original flavors, you should know. Like, nigga. OC, I mentioned OC. Shout out to Razcast. I dabbled in a little bit of that. My Ice Cube, of course NWA, but Gorillas in the Mist. That's when, like, I remember hearing that when he was on the Gorillas in the Mist shit. Like, that cube was What else am I listening to? I don't want to leave anything out. Oh, I'm listening to the Come Up Show, and I'm getting to the break of dawn, all night long. I'm listening to that. I'm getting Schoolie D's. I'm getting that. Oh my goodness, like hip hop, man, hip hop is why I freestyle in the beginning of all of my shows. If you haven't been to a reality check comedy show, I don't know how I got here, but here I am. Like, I freestyle before every podcast, of course this show I did a freestyle. So I did that. Before a reality check comedy show with the band, I do a freestyles for dummy. I rap because of hip hop. Like, that's my first love. Music is my first love. I love stand-up comedy. I love radio. I love radio because I love music. Because music is what raised me, specifically hip hop. If I forgot anything on this episode, please blame it on the brain, not the heart. This is my love letter to hip hop. It's a stream of consciousness. Now, I didn't plan for anything. I didn't write anything down. Oh, the women in hip hop. The women in hip hop that I loved. Queen Latifah, because we always forget to mention the women, and of course they have the beautiful documentary on Netflix right now, Queens, I believe it's called. But blame it on my mind, not my heart. But go check that out. The MCs, the female MCs that I loved as a kid. Queen Latifah. Latifah's had it up to here. What? That's oh my God. Moni Love, of course. Little Kim. Bahamadia. I mentioned her already. Who else do I MC Light. Who else do I want to mention? Foxy Brown. Gotta mention Lauryn Hill, of course. What's my homegirl name? Oh man, I'm not gonna turn this off until shout out to Miss Jade. Jade. Is it Jade? No. Oh man, what's her name? Not Joe, not Jane. Oh, forget it. It'll come to me. Who else? What other female MCs do I want to shout out? Shout out to Rage, Lady of Rage. Shout out to the Brat, because the Brat's album, her first album, was a hit banger. Shout out to Jermaine Dupri. I mentioned Outkast, T.I. Who else do I want to mention? I want to make sure I shout all of these people out, because these are people that I love. And let me shout out Currency, because Currency has entered into like my top 20 rappers of all time. He's one of my favorite MCs. I mentioned Redman. I mentioned I can't mention Redman without mentioning K Solo. I can't mention K Solo without mentioning Craig G. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't mention Craig G without mentioning I already mentioned MOP. Who else? Like oh man, I love hip hop, man. I love hip hop. I love hip hop, y'all. I don't want to leave anybody out. I know I'm gonna do it. I know Jean Grey. Jean Grey as well. Shout out to Jean Grey. Very slept on female MC that nobody ever really mentions for some odd reason. I mentioned Snoop Dogg. Corrupt. You gotta mention the Dog Pound. You have to. Who else? We gotta mention Naughty by Nature. You gotta mention like the amount of hits that Tretch and Vin have released. You gotta mention Naughty by Nature, who is part of the Flavor Unit. And I was thinking the other day that it just hit me when I see Queen Latifah. When I see Queen Latifah, I think of LL Cool J. When I look at LL Cool J, I think of Queen Latifah, because I think that they are one and the same. The things that they have done with hip hop is to be commended. Like, you can't talk about hip hop without mentioning LL. Why am I just mentioning LL? Ladies love Cool James. Like, Walking with a Panther, like the velour sweatsuit, the velour tracksuit, that's LL. Huh? Like, when you seeing LL, another kid, like, I was like, yo, I can be one of them people. I'm like, I want to do that. Like, hip hop, that's what raised me, guys. That's what helped raise me, because I would never take anything away from my mom and my dad. I'm so hip hop. Hip hop helped me to accept that my father, who I've known all of my life, who's been my dad, he's my dad. When I found out he wasn't my father, my biological father, hip hop is what helped me understand what that was, because I'm listening to other MCs talking about their dads wasn't present, and what a stepdad had to do to come in for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's homegirl name? Well, daddy don't know want her. It's daddy's little girl. Her, like, one of those songs, like shit like that. That's hip hop. That's hip hop. Like, hip hop helped me like understand things, man. I think that's all I got for my hip hop tangent. This has been a special episode of the Jay Sutton Show. So we'll start how we This has been a special episode of the Jay Sutton Show. I wanna say, hip hop, I love you. I want to say thank you. You raised me. You showed me what the world was. You taught me. You gave me Black history. Shout out to the X Clan. Shout out to Stetsasonic. Like, hip hop, man. I probably forgot so much stuff. I probably forgot so many people to mention, but blame it on my brain, not my heart. I said hip hop. I really, really love you. Don't get me started. This has been a special episode of the Jay Sutton Show. Episode 126, I believe. My love letter to hip hop. Happy 50th birthday. Thank you. Thank you.